Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Plenty with Sulo with Daily Mirror Online. Today our guest is a corporate leader. Her name is Tania Polonnawita Wettimuny. She is the Managing Director of IAS Holdings. Hi Tania.
Hi Salon.
So it's just informal talk, right? I know you were the first multinational CEO for freight forwarding company, right?
Correct.
And I see you like, some of the few women who's leading the freight forwarding. Before we go to the professional and all that, I just want to know, actually, who is Tania?
Okay, so let me start by saying that I'm not from Colombo.
Okay.
I come from Kurunegala. I studied in Kandy at Tilwood College. I was in boarding school for a very long time, and my parents, my father worked overseas for a very long time, so my mother really brought us up. But my father was a good provider and always there for us, even though he was not living in Sri Lanka. He was on and off for work. He was traveling. We had a very happy childhood. I have two brothers, one old and one younger. And if your question was who I am, so I think I'm very happy. If you ask, I'm a very happy person. I can go through anything in life.
Okay.
And I have the courage to motivate myself.
Okay,
that's I consider as a blessing, I think that's what we need in life these days.
Yeah.
You don't have anybody coming up to you and tapping your shoulder and saying, "Oh, good work." If you don't have that, I think in today's context, it's tough life. So I am happy that I am that happy person, and I have the courage to make myself motivate and be happy. I have two stepdaughters, and I have extremely supportive husband.
Yes.
I have 6 sister-in-laws.
Okay.
Very supportive also, and 4 brother-in-laws. So, and nieces, nephews. So it's a lot of us, and they're all very supportive. So I consider myself lucky in that sense, in the family environment.
You are attached to a family with love in cricket, right? So someone coming from Kandy and getting in attached with a cricket family and now having 6 sister-in-laws, right? How do you feel like?
So my older brother, Presley Polonnawita, was a schoolboy cricketer, outstation schoolboy cricketer for St. Anne's in Kurunegala. My younger brother also, he went to Trinity College. He played cricket as well. So I also come from a cricketing family.
Okay.
But I don't watch cricket. I don't follow cricket. But my sister-in-laws, I think, especially my sister-in-laws from my husband's side, they are so much into cricket. Shamini, Wettimuny and Kanti, they are so much into cricket, but I'm not. But getting to that environment was easier than first when I came to Colombo. When I was, I think, 17 or 18, when I came to Colombo, I didn't know anybody. I mean, I knew my school friends, their families, then my relatives who were living in Colombo I knew, but I didn't know anybody else in Colombo.
Okay.
And then I came to do an internship, and then after that I remained in the freight industry, and it was not easy. I had to get to know a lot of people. So it's a joke that I carry my business visiting card wherever I go, because actually I did that, because whoever I met, I give my card.
Okay.
Or I gave my card, right? Because I wanted to make contact. I needed to know the business community. So it was not easy, but I never gave up. I said, okay, now I am in it, so I might as well now make something out of it. So Yeah, so it was getting into the family circle of cricketing and all that stuff was easier than when I first came to Colombo and surviving in the business community.
So, now when you were a child, right, especially a daughter, most parents want them to have a, I would say, comfortable job, but you got into something which is not many females are. What actually made you to get into freight and forward?
So I'm glad I didn't know it was perceived to be male dominant. I didn't know. So that was a good thing. So I didn't look at it as say, oh, this is a male dominant. How am I going to survive? I didn't know. So that I think became an advantage for me. And my mother also never worked. And my father was a telecommunication engineer. So probably he also didn't know logistic. Probably he knew, but he didn't know in terms of the local market perspective, whether it's a male or female dominant. And I did my older brother who played cricket, he was chosen to go to England with under 15 team. But at the same time, he has registered to do a course at Sri Lankan Airlines, cargo. And then so he had to travel at the same time, so he couldn't attend. Then my mother spoke to Sri Lankan Airlines and they said, oh, they can't refund the money. So my mother said, why don't you go? Anyway, you have school holidays. I was in grade 9 at that time. So I said, yeah, it's fun to go to the airport and do this course and going to Colombo. So I said, it's a good thing. So I had absolutely no clue. And I went, I got the highest marks.
Okay.
And then Sri Lankan Airlines has recommended the intern, when companies were looking for interns, few years after that, they have sent the students who actually did the basic cargo courses. So I got few letters coming in or the requests coming from these companies, and so I was doing my A-level. So I had to wait till I finished that, and then I came to do an internship. I had absolutely no clue. I don't think even the friends around me or the family knew this is a male dominant industry. I just came to do an internship and I liked it so much I stayed.
So it's like by accident you got into freight?
By accident. I think lots of us in this industry, if you ask, it was not by choice at that time. Yeah. Now, of course, the market is open, the universities are having degrees, it's very open, but at that time, 25 years ago, we had, it was not by choice anyone would get into freight forwarding. At that time, it was more freight forwarding. Now it's open, it's logistic, warehousing, multimodal transportation, all that stuff. But that time it was basic freight forwarding per se. And everyone who has got into it has got into it by accident. Most of them.
Most of them agree
Most of
on
them,
that.
at least my era.
So how you got into this multinational job and got into that?
So at that time I was working for Salon, and Salon had the agency for this multinational company that I worked before, and they wanted to start their own. So then because we were working there, and they asked us, would you like to now take over and then manage for us in Sri Lanka, and few of us moved in with them.
Okay.
So I had worked for them 2 years prior to that.
So that's why how opportunity was there.
Yes, opportunity was given, and we were, I think, fortunate enough that opportunity came along, and they decided to take us into the new venture, and so I worked there for 16 years after that.
Yes, that's right. So becoming the CEO of a multinational company and running it with so many staff, you know, some says it's easy to get into the position, but it's very difficult to be in the position. Was it same to you?
Yes, it was same. Sadly, you know, when you get into that position, some companies they groom, some companies they expect you to find your path, which is a good thing because it helps you to become an entrepreneur. If you have entrepreneurial skill, that helps you. And I'm glad in a way that it was like that. It would have been great if the support had come for you to, or for you to excel in that position in a way where, you know, you are given time frame, you're groomed to be there, not overnight. So I had challenges in that sense. I remember the first month I was supposed to send the country manager's report, and I had no clue, right? And then my regional director sends me this long message, why you haven't sent your country manager's report? And I'm looking up and thinking, which report is this? I have no clue, I don't know what is this. So you know, so it was a learning curve as well while managing the entity and developing the brand. So it was a good thing, but it was a struggle because nobody gave me that framework to say, okay, as a CEO, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to, you know, follow. And so I had to find everything by myself, but I had a good team. It was not just by me. I had a good team, and some who have worked with me long years before that, some of them are still working with me in our new entity. So we all got together, and it was a journey. That 16 years was a journey, and it was a great company, and I learned a lot. And it was not an easy decision then thereafter to move away, but I had this feeling I wanted to do, so I took that step.
And you were the first female chairperson of Freight Forwarding Association,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
So male dominated, you didn't know, you entered into that industry, and then you were able to become a CEO. Now you'll be able to become the first female chairperson of Freight Forwarding. So a lot of in Sri Lanka is very popular becoming the first female. But are there followers who will be there? How do you see that getting into that position? There's a blame, like everyone said, just because a woman is there, she's not supportive. How do you think about it?
See, for me it was, I think I'm very blessed. Even though it's a male-dominant industry, perceived to be male-dominant industry, my colleagues in the industry from various, they're competitors, right? They're competitors outside, but they were very supportive because they have to nominate. You can't apply and get the position. And I have been involved in the association for a very long time, and I always wanted to add value, and I knew when to step in and when to step out, which is a great thing. And they in fact encouraged when they said, when I got the call, my friend Tony D'Olivera, he was at that term he was taking over the presidency. He called and said, Tania, I'm going to nominate you to become the treasurer. So I said, Tony, do you know, after I become a treasurer, it's a gradual process. You become then the vice chair and the chair, right? So I said, will this be okay? Because if I become a treasurer, then I don't expect then 2 years down the line for me to step down and somebody else to come in. He said, no, that's fine. I mean, we have discussed this there are 12 other executive members and then the advisory council. We have discussed, and they're all quite fine with that. So in fact, they encouraged me to take. I never thought about it. I thought, honestly, I will never get that position, and it was fine with me. And unfortunately, you know, we are trying to get more and more ladies involved. We have great ones. If you look at it, my good friend Shehara is the joint managing director of McLaren's, Nirmali Pereira, managing director at Pershape. Then we have Diruni Chanmugam, who's also director at Sherman's Logistics, and we have lots of others who are involved in logistic industries, but there's very few on the top. But the problem is the second and the third level. For whatever the reason, they are not motivated enough to get into the mainstream, get that challenge. You know, you have to also be in our job. It's a 24/7. I'm sure lots of us are doing 24/7, but this also, you have to be involved. You have to travel. You have meetings. You have entertainment, then you have to meet customers. So you also have to have that support. If you're married, you have to have a good spouse. Now my husband is very supportive, and I'm very, very lucky in that sense. Likewise, if you don't have, if your parents don't understand, if your family don't understand, then if you have children, if you can't give that time for obvious reason, because when you have a small family, your priority as a mother is for your family, which is a great thing, and that should be the case. But if you can't then manage, even if you have a young family, if you have a lot of support at home, then it's easier. But then otherwise it's difficult. So I think lots of them are not getting into the mainstream. This may be one of the reasons, because it's that understanding should be there, that you have to juggle, and most of your customers probably male, so you know, and you have to travel overseas by yourself or with your colleague. Again, your colleague is a male, so if your family is not okay with that, then that's a problem. So I do not know whether that's a reason, or whether they don't see this as a mainstream of employment opportunity for them to pursue.
Agree on that.
Yeah.
So when you said that sometimes mainly we all have to work with male, all that. So there's a myth that's saying some women got to top because they were good with men, right? And then again they say some women are not supportive towards women, and which I think, yes, there are plus and minuses, but do a woman need to be a man to get a job, or does she need to be very, I would say, have a good male friend to be in that position, or can't she be herself and reach the top?
See, any job you have, if you are not yourself, it's tough to retain that position, because you are trying to be somebody else. Whether it's male dominant or whether female dominant, irrespective of whatever the job that you have to do, you have to like it, you have to have a passion, and you have to believe in yourself. So if you're trying to be somebody else, to fit into that, it doesn't mean that sometimes you have to fit into a place and to a culture for the right reasons. But if you're trying to fit into something for wrong reason, you can't sustain. My advice, how I have survived, at least my experience, not my advice, my experience is that treat everybody equally. It doesn't matter whether you are going to be on the top or whether you are doing the bottom end of the job. You have to focus, you have to passionate, you have to do well within your ability. If you are doing that, at some point somebody is going to recognize you, right? And if you're lucky, you need a little bit of luck also. If you're lucky enough, I think you will get. But if you are not getting it for the right reasons, then you can't sustain it. So I think you have to be yourself. Focus. Before you take a challenge, see whether you can commit yourself 200%. Right? If you can't, then better not take, because it's not going to be then very happy place to be in, because you are then stressed, you are juggling, you are doing this. Juggling is okay as long as you can manage that, right? If you can't, sometimes it will come to a point where you can't manage it, then you're not going to enjoy. You have to first enjoy whatever you are doing, right? So I don't think you have to be a man or a woman or pretend to be somebody else. Right? You have to be yourself, focus on it. If you like it, if you think this is what I want, go after it. Don't allow anyone to stop you from doing that. For me, I was lucky enough to be in that place at that time, but I also worked very, very, very hard. I told you, when I first came to Colombo, I didn't know anybody. So every invitation I got, my friends were going out meeting or going to have dinners. I was going for some cocktail function, or I was going for some seminar. I was just going to get to know people. I need to know the business community. Then I worked long hours. I went to see customers. I traveled. I put myself into it, and so I think you have to have that sort of a commitment if you want to achieve something. It won't come easily because you know somebody.
Yeah.
But it's a myth that when you're a woman, because you know somebody, or because you are a fairer sex, that you will get into it. I think that era has gone. I think it's not exist
it's
anymore.
no more that it's about your talents and your skill,
Yeah.
and also your passion about the job.
And also how much your respect towards your colleagues. That's very important.
Yes.
You have to treat equally and fairly and with respect. Whether man or a woman, we all expect that sort of a respect. So then I think it's an easy place.
Now, living a very, I would say, corporate life, now you are an entrepreneur. You started your own. How the shift actually came?
I never thought about it. I thought I will retire from whatever I was doing before. It just happened suddenly. I just did it for fun, but I always knew I want to do something different. For me, if I'm very comfortable in something I'm doing, I think that's the time for me to shift. I don't want to feel too comfortable. I need challenge. I need to feel every day when I get up in the morning, I need to have a challenge. I need to be that. I want to do like 12 things per day. I'm one of those people. And so I felt 2 years ago it's time that I do something small. And so I told the shareholders of the previous company, and they said it's fine. I mean, so I had this tiny logistic company in the same building on the ground floor, and then of course we grew it to a size that I decided beginning of this year that I would move in completely and then focus on that. So we have three joint ventures and local entities. So 4 companies. We have 120 people working for us, and it's challenging. It's not the today's market condition doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help corporates, no entrepreneurs, no someone who has entrepreneurial skills to look at starting. So it's a sad thing. But nobody said doing business is easy.
Yes.
It's challenging. Otherwise, everyone will start their own.
Yes.
So with that in mind, we are progressing. But that corporate culture, working for a multinational, has really helped me to bring certain values and discipline into the new entity. We are restructuring currently, getting the right structure, but it's not easy. But I would always encourage, if you have that entrepreneurial skill, pursue it. Don't get cold feet, because you can also lose your job while you're working for somebody.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that you're going to have your position for the rest of your life. So it's the same thing. You can start, you can fail, but you learn through failures. You make mistakes, you correct, and you move forward. And those are small steps. So I think with that in mind, we are moving forward. But it's challenging, but challenge is a good thing.
Yeah, as you said, you always loved challenges and you want to do new things. Coming to the end, Tania, I have seen you are someone who's very emotional, right? And you always had this passion of helping people and all that. And I've seen in you. Do you think that Sri Lanka need to get women with leadership or women with passion?
I think if you don't have passion, there's something lacking in that leadership. You have to be compassionate, because you are working with group of people. Everyone will in the morning come with some problem which we don't know. I'll tell you example. I learned through that example when I was working in the previous company. This particular person used to always go out during the lunchtime. We didn't know. I'm always joking with him and asking, why are you always going out? Then when he gave us the resignation, somebody told me, you know why he was leaving every day lunchtime is going out, because most days he didn't have money to eat. you know, this has really stayed in my heart for a really long time, and I felt really bad. Why didn't I check this before? Why didn't I ask him that question without joking with him? I should have really thought to myself, because I go and eat in the lunchroom with my team every day. If I'm in the office, I do that. To date, I do that. So so you have to have that. You have to have that compassionate, that emotional feeling towards another colleague or anyone. When we say,
Yeah.
I think just being a leader is not enough. You have to have that compassionate, that emotion, that feeling towards another person. Then only you will build a great team, and then I think that will help you to become a great leader through that. So I think that's important. Leadership itself is not enough without having that human touch into it.
Human touch. Great answers and
Thank
great
you.
insight. I think many will get inspired. Thank you, Tania, for
Thank
your
you
time.
very much. Really
And
appreciate
I know
it.
how busy you are, but I'm so glad that you were
Thanks
able
for
to make-
inviting me. I really enjoyed it.
It's the end of another episode. Today we had Tania Polonnawita Wettimuny. She spoke about passion, she spoke about leadership and entrepreneurship. And mainly she said, like other speakers, she said, be yourself and have your own style. Ending the another episode of Plenty with Sulo. Be tuned to Daily Mirror online. Thank you.